What's up everyone? Welcome to another review for Gors Month of Horror. This is number 7, and this time I am looking at a movie that I could not wait for. I really couldn't. It looked creepy, it looked scary, and effective, all in just one 2-minute trailer. I couldn't wait for it. And of course that movie is Here Comes the Boom, starring Kevin James. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, that movie scares me in a completely different way. But no, Sinister. Of course I'm talking about Sinister. And I couldn't wait to see this film. And also, I don't know of the man. I mean, I know of the man, but I do not know him personally. But I do know of the writer, C. Robert Cargill, or Carlisle on Spill.com, which I always thought Spill is, one of those sites that I always listen to movie reviews to because they're informative and they're freaking hilarious. I love them. That's what should go together. They should go together nicely, mix very nicely. It shouldn't just be overly funny or overly critical. It should be funny and critical, and that's what I love about Spill.com. And I thought he was one of my favorite cast members on Spill. But of course, he's not there anymore because he's a screenwriter and he's writing an Ethan Hawke movie. First movie, Ethan Hawke's in it. Look at that. That's genius. He was in Gattaca and a bunch of other movies, but Gattaca. That's a good movie. So anyway, let's talk about it with, of course, the story. So the story for Sinister follows Ellison Oswalt, played, of course, by Ethan Hawke, and his family, who are just moving into a brand new house, which, come on, there's so many horror films where a nice white family is moving into a new house and spooky stuff happens, but this one's a little different because he's a writer, like I said, and, did I say it? Well, he's a writer anyway, and he's looking for his next true crime novel that he can write because he's a true crime novelist and he hasn't had a new good story to write about for years. I think about 10 years they say, so he really wants to find a new one. And this house they're moving into, guess what? There was a true crime that happened there not too long ago and he could write about it. There's some stuff with the family, of course, some drama here and there, a lot of horror films need that family drama, which is fine, I like that. He finds a box in his attic and he's like, okay, this is weird because they took pictures of this house before I came in and this box wasn't here before because of course they had to take pictures because it was pretty much a crime scene, come on, and they had to take pictures and he was like, wow, this is weird, this box wasn't here before, so someone left it for me maybe? I don't know. So he goes through it and they have like names like Lawn Time or friggin' Hanging Out with the Family or Pool Party, and he starts watching each one of these tapes, which they're not tapes, they're film canisters with a Super 8 reel. They're Super 8 reels. And he watches them and he's going, okay, they start off semi-normal, but then boom, murder. Yeah, it ends out with murder and he's like, what the hell? And he notices something a little strange in each of these home videos. And I don't want to spoil that even though the trailer did, but it's definitely supernatural. And it kind of spoils it on the poster too. But again, if you're if you're a guy that wants to, or a girl, whatever, that wants to go see this film and you're watching this review and you do not know anything about this movie, just go in expecting a supernatural part to it. And that's about it. And also a lot of found footage, because they do have found footage in a regular movie, which I thought that mixture was really cool. The rest of the story is a bunch of weird stuff happens, blah blah blah. Don't really need to tell you because it's if you explain it in the most simple of terms, it's pretty generic. If you just say a new family goes into a house, there's a ghost there, they get scared, they run off or something, you've heard that plot before. But when you get into details, it's definitely different. It has its own feeling to it, especially with the acting and the characters, because Ethan Hawke is so good in this film. He really is. I mean, I love Ethan Hawke and he's so good in this film. Even though at first they kind of established him as the self-loving, not self-loving, but he's just in it for himself, really. I mean, his family too. He's trying to get money for this, for this new book that he wants to write for this true crime thing. He wants the money so he can provide for his family, but he doesn't think about the repercussions that could come from living in a house where a bunch of people died. It could screw up his kids or something, but he doesn't think about that. He just wants money, so of course they can live a happy life. But even when you have that, he's still a very likable character. He does a great job in this film. I just think he's fantastic in here and you really care about him, and including the kids, and because he has 2 kids, and his wife, you do care about them too, and Ethan Hawke does a great job along with them too. And some of the side characters, like they introduce a deputy in this film who becomes like Ethan Hawke's like sidekick in a way, which I thought was very strange, but they introduce it very well at first. He becomes the the comedic sidekick, but then later on he becomes his own too, which I thought was really cool. And for the most part I just thought all the other side characters were really good, which there's not that many, but for the most part I just thought the acting was great, the characters are very memorable, and of course you have to get into that scary part. Well, let me tell you about the scariness in this film, or the horror, or whatever the hell you want to call this category. This movie is very scary. And that's a great thing to say about a horror film, because there's so many movies that came out this year that were horror films. Two I'm thinking of right now, Apparition and Possession. Even though I kind of like Possession, I thought the Apparition completely devoid of scares, and Possession was, had its moments, but for the most part those two did fail on the scale, the scare portions, of course. But this movie definitely gets you, because it starts off creepy and things jump out at you and stuff. There's some jump scares there which are really paced well and are very effective, but it builds up the tension into a climax that's like, wow, that is creepy as all hell. It is. And it's a very scary and very effective horror film because of that. I don't even want to spoil that many things. Hell, I don't even want to spoil the whole supernatural portion of the film, even though they kind of spoil it on the poster anyway. But still, just in case you're watching this and you don't know anything about this film, don't read about it anywhere else. Don't read a review, because they might, spoil something. Well, not really spoil, but they might read the synopsis to you. Just go into this expecting just another horror film, and you're going to get some great written characters, some really good scares, some damn good direction from Scott Derrickson, who I don't think is the best director out there. He did the Exorcism of Emily Rose, and he did that Day of the Earth Stood Still remake. And I don't think he's a great director, but here he does a damn good job directing everything. And of course, C. Robert Cargill. I can't wait until you write another movie, you sick, insane bastard, because there is some stuff in here that is insane and scary. And I know this actually came from a nightmare of his, which I thought was very strange, but yeah, I can't wait to see what he has cooked up next, because oh boy, this movie is creepy as all hell, has so much atmosphere. I can't wait to see what he has, up his sleeve next time. Overall, I think Sinister is a great film. If I had to say any problems with it, is that I would say a couple of scares don't scare me as much as other scares in the movie, so it kind of drops it down, just because I'm like, oh, that was scary, and this one was kind of scary. It could have been better, in a way, but that's the only complaint. So I'm going to give this a 38 out of 40. I think this is probably one of the best horror films in the last few years. Definitely go check it out. It scared the shit out of me. I'm going to have a hard time sleeping. And I'm a big man. So anyway, there you go. There's a 38 out of 40. Good job, everybody that made it. Ethan Hawke, you're amazing. I love you. You're great. And of course, Carlisle from Spill and Scott Derrickson. And I'm just going to end the review. Thank you and goodbye.